welcome back to the Loading Up Podcast. I am your host, Producer Jay, along with my co-host, Brother Zay.
Yo.
And along with also Brother Tay.
My heart, Jesus Christ.
Sorry, I was a little bit too enthusiastic because we are back after a brief hiatus. I know it was mostly because of me, because I had to take a break to deal with some personal stuff, but it's mostly been taken care of, and I feel like I was ready to come back. And there's been a lot of stuff happening in the past few weeks in gaming that, frankly, we probably shouldn't talk about because it'll give myself a headache all over again. But we'll still talk about what the recent news is. But before we get to that, how you guys been?
I've been great.
I've been all over the place.
So, have you guys been catching up on any games while we were away?
Absolutely.
No.
Oh wow.
Right. Say, what are you playing?
Yeah. I finally finished Baldur's Gate 3. And I'm ready on my second playthrough. I'm trying to do an evil playthrough. I'm gonna go a Dark Urge playthrough. I really love the game. Really like the ending. I just want to play it again. I'm like 75% done with Persona 3 Reloaded on Game Pass. Which was, I think this one's probably my favorite Persona game. It's really fun. I really like it.
Interesting.
Yeah. And of course I've been playing on stream. If you've watched during the streams, I've played Supermarket Simulator. I've played some Helldivers 2. So we've been playing games. We've been finishing games and playing games.
Nice. Brother Tay, I know you said you didn't.
And I haven't gotten a chance to download any new games, but I have been playing games. I've been playing that Dead by Daylight. Got to go against a few new killers. Streamed it for a while.
Okay.
Got to stream Judgment with my pal and partner, Ace. I'm not going to plug it in because I don't want to get yelled at.
Wait, Judgment? What's that?
The Yakuza game.
Yep, the Yakuza.
Oh, that's right.
Come on, bro.
Hey, listen.
Played Judgment. We got to, I think it was, I might be wrong. I think it was on the Sea of Stars. I think that was the game.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remember, I think that was the name. It was like a role player game. Really funny to me.
Yeah.
But then I got to download Jackbox games for my job. I haven't got to play the new one yet.
Yo, the Jackbox games, they need to do is release one game and then have all the other games as DLC. Because having to buy each pack individually is so frustrating. Because the second you miss one, they release another one like the next month.
I know. And you're talking to someone who collects them like Mario parties.
And they're so expensive too. Like
they're $30 each, and I'm I'm gonna get it regardless.
I don't play that much to be spending that much money on them. I usually wait for like sales, but there hasn't been many sales on them. But
nah, not many sales yet. But I just don't worry about me.
But you've been playing games, so that's good though. I have
been playing.
Yes, actually, I have. So, I basically, like, once we decided to take the break, I was like, okay, and literally, I think like a day or two after, I got my Rogue Ally back, which thank God, because it's so like I tried to go back to playing my Switch, and it's just like I can't. Like, I just can't anymore. Like, it's so, like, slow, and it's so, like, old.
He's bougie now.
I was spoiled. I was too spoiled. So, it came back, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to tinker with it anymore. I'm just leave it. I'm just play games. Like, that's it. So, so basically that was like my avenue to starting games, because I downloaded the games I had before. I feel like right now I'm doing mostly indie games on it because I feel like they're short and sweet, and I can play them like quick on my breaks at work. So the first one I actually completed, which was Firewatch.
Oh, nice. That's a good one.
Yeah, that game is so fun, and I mean it's a walking
It's
simulator.
a walking simulator, yeah.
It's a walking simulator, but like it's so in like the story just hooks. And I
It does.
remember I watched it a long time ago. I was watching like a playthrough of it, and I never finished it. So I was like, okay, like I know kind of the gist of what happens, but like I don't know everything that happens. So it was still fresh for me. So when it came out, it was on Game Pass a while ago, and then it came out, but then they put it back on Game Pass recently. So I decided to download that, and I played through it. It's amazing. If you're into like good storytelling games, that's perfect if you have Game Pass. The second one that I just finished recently was Jusant, which is by Don't Nod, which is it basically is rock climbing simulator. It's very relaxing, and it's beautiful, and it's peaceful. It's something that like it worked perfectly because there's no dialogue, so like you don't really have to like focus on like a story or anything. I mean, the story does play out, but it plays out through like the interaction with like the character and the environment and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's not something that you need to like, because I have headphones that I plug into my Ally, and so that one I didn't really need to put headphones. Although the soundtrack is very good, if you want to listen to it, I would just put on like a podcast and just listen to that while I'll play it, and it's just like the most like zen I've ever been. So it's a very fun game.
It's a very nice game, very chill game. I actually love playing it. I'm so proud that you're finishing games, man.
Yeah, look at that. Me, like it's very nice to actually be finishing games. I took a break. I took a break from the Metal Gear Solid because I'm right now I'm going through Metal Gear Solid 2 on the hardest difficulty because I'm trying to get all the achievements on it, and it's infuriating. So that's why I needed to take a break from that. But then the WWE 2K24 came out, and that's been my home console go-to right now. So like every time I'm home, I just turn that on, play a few matches and stuff like that, because that's another. It's oddly enough, that's another game that's pretty easy to pick up and play for a little bit.
Yeah, like 1 or 2 matches here and there.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been playing that, and I just started Life is Strange True Colors.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I love the Life is Strange games. I actually recommended them to Brother Jay because he was asking me for another game to play, which I don't know why, because he always plays the same game. Like literally, he'll just before, because I got him into Mass Effect. We spoke about it before, but I got him into Mass Effect, and before that, literally all he played was God of War, like just replaying it over and over and over and over and over. And that's great. It's a great game. But like he was telling me, because we were talking about it, and he was telling me that the reason he does that is because he likes to go back and pick up on things that he missed, or try to get more out of the lore and stuff like that, that's good. But it's just like, yo, there's so many other games out there, bro. Like you got to play something else. So now it went from God of War being the replay every time to Mass Effect, because now he's trying to be like, he wants to know everything about Mass Effect, which is great because I love it too. I wouldn't go back and play it over and over and over again. I mean, but at least it's an RPG that's built for that, so he can get different experiences every time he plays.
That's very true.
It's better than God of War, which is literally just the same game.
The same thing over and over again.
Watch out. The ponies may get mad at you.
Right?
I don't care. I played it. I know exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, obviously maybe like multiple plays, maybe like 1 or 2. I get. But it's like he's probably done like 5 or 6 or 7, if that.
Yeah, I understand.
But yeah, so I recommended.
How far did you get into Life is Strange True Colors?
So I'm in the first chapter. Like I literally just started this like maybe a few days ago. It's so far like I mean, like I said, I like the Life is Strange games. They always hook me. So This
It will.
the first one kind of hooked me. I mean, it hasn't like fully been like, yo, this is crazy. Like it perked my eyebrows. I was like, oh, okay. Like, like it's one of those moments where it's like, okay, I want to see where this is going. And I'm sure by the end of the first chapter, I'm gonna be like, yo, I gotta play the second chapter. Thankfully, they all came out at once. And I don't have to wait because the past ones I bought it as the chapters were coming out, so I was like, I need more. And that's the one thing about. I'm glad that they didn't do it for this one. But yeah, so that's what I've been playing, and it's been great being able to catch up on like my games at a rapid pace.
There's been a game. There's a game I've been wanting to buy, like as just for me, because I like to waste time. Have you been seeing Supermarket Simulator?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that he was playing it. Yeah.
Oh my god, how is it? I know it's in early access right now.
Bro, it is addicting.
I watched it on like Twitch and YouTube 3 times. I was like, I want this, but I don't know
what is it exactly? Like, it
is literally just you. Filling out the shelves and having people come in and they buy the stuff and you're managing the store.
Yeah.
So it's like okay. I thought it was like you're in a supermarket shopping.
No.
Okay.
You're the owner of the supermarket. You're just filling up shelves.
Oh, so it should be called Supermarket Tycoon.
No, tycoons are done.
No?
Yeah.
Tycoons have bad reps.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like roller coaster tycoon. We don't do that no more.
This is more like a really small store, and then you have to make money to upgrade it and make it bigger, buy more products and everything. You get to it's different, but it's very fun. It's addicting. I usually do like one night and like one day in the game, like every night. Just get some money, maybe upgrade a little bit. It's addicting.
It's like the Power Wash Simulator type. I mean, it's like all simulator games, honestly. Like that's what it's for.
Yeah. It is like all simulator games.
Yeah, it's absolutely fun. I tell you, if you haven't done it, go get it.
Right, that I was staring at it. I was staring at it. I'm like, damn, like the things I could do.
So before we jump into the news, we do have an announcement to make. So I'll let Brother Zay say it because it was really him and Brother Matt that took it upon themselves to head this new to head. Yeah, it came out of nowhere. So I'll let you take it.
All right. So officially, we've been trying to get partnerships or brand deals so that we can continue doing this for you guys and also just get our name out there, try and get bigger. And we actually landed 2 partnerships. Our first partnership is with W Energy. They do energy drinks. And our second partnership is with NordVPN. And they will be part of the Loading Up team from now on.
Yeah. So it's been honestly like when they posted it in the group chat, it took me by surprise, and I was so excited because I actually use NordVPN, and I use it every day at my job because for whatever reason my job decides anything gaming related is a no-no. So like if I wanted to, like I said, I bring my my ally to work, but I can only play my games if I verify it by connecting to the internet.
There's really no reason.
They block it. So, so the only way I'm able to do it is through NordVPN. So thank you, Nord.
That's perfect.
Is there really no reason, or have you been like slacking at work?
No, hey, listen. I do it on my breaks.
That's what they all say.
I get my 45s. Don't worry, I play on that time. And but also it also is interesting for Dubby because I've been I mean I haven't been on like a workout kick, but I'm starting to get back into the rhythm of getting healthier and dieting and stuff like that. And one thing that is very hard for me to find is like good energy drinks. And I was thinking about going to like different ones that, like the competitors. So now that we have Dubby, we can use our code, which we'll have in the description for Nord and Dubby. And now I can look up and try them out because I'm very excited to try new energy drinks.
Oh yeah, definitely. And the cool thing about Dubby is like it's got like no calories, no sugar, no artificial colors. You know, they have it seems to be like really good. I did get the starter kit so that way I can try some of the flavors because I've tried these energy drinks before and they've been all right. So I'm excited to get the shaker and the flavors so that way I can try it out for myself. So I can't wait.
Same. So we look forward to our partnership, our new partnership with these brands.
Causing problems.
And with that, we'll go to the news.
That's right. The news. There's been a lot of stuff going on lately. We're going to get into a little bit of all the craziness, but first we're going to start out with a new game that was announced just a couple days ago. Marvel's Rivals. It is the 6v6 I guess it's a shooter, like
Overwatch clone.
Oh yeah,
call it what it is. Like
yes, I didn't want to say it first. It is the Overwatch clone, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know what to think about this, man. I seen gameplay footage because they released gameplay footage, and I'm just like, yeah, it looks exactly like Overwatch. Even the maps look extremely similar. Of course, just Marvel tacked onto it, and I'm just like, I put enough time and wasted enough money into Overwatch that I don't want to get sucked in again.
Yeah, we were talking about that in the group chat, and I wonder because like developers by now have to know like what people are willing to spend their money on. And I remember back when Overwatch launched, the main thing was the loot box system. Yeah. And I know that was not highly favorable. There were some people who actually, and it's funny because now that like the whole battle pass craze has taken over essentially, now people are starting to be like, hey, maybe loot boxes weren't so bad. I still maintain that they were horrible. I don't care. Like I would rather. Fun. Yeah, I'd rather a battle pass than a loot box. Thank you very much. What I wonder though is because this is being developed by NetEase, which is a Chinese company that is basically proficient in those types of games, like those gacha games on mobile and PC. Like literally all their games have been mobile or PC games. And because that's where the market is for them, and people were actually not shocked. They were a little bit taken aback by the fact that it's not releasing on consoles. It's only PC on Steam and Epic Game Store. So, they did say because I wanted to see for myself because I heard people say that the developers confirmed that they're gonna come to consoles later or whatever. I found on the Discord their Q&A that they said that they were exploring different options for other platforms at a later date, but then they removed that and just said it's launching on PC. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if maybe they just don't want to give people hope or whatever the case may be. But I think overall, based on the gameplay, it looks like it could be fun. But it's a free to play, and like I said, NetEase is known for those types of games where it's just a grind fest unless you spend money. And there could be loot boxes, there could be battle passes, it could be
both.
And we don't know what they're gonna be selling because if it's free to play, they're gonna be selling stuff. It could just be cosmetics. People love their cosmetics, especially for Marvel stuff. So it could be that. It could be like the Fortnite model where it's just cosmetics.
But these brothers are having hope. We can't allow that.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could also be very egregious and it could be terrible. Go
when
ahead.
it comes to microtransactions, right? Because nowadays everybody gets pissed off if your game has microtransactions. I.e., Dragon's Dogma 2. So this game is okay because it's free to play. That's what I'm getting. That's the temperature that's going on. That it's okay because free to play, but it's not okay.
I wouldn't say it's okay. I would say it's a little bit more acceptable.
No, microtransactions
okay.
should be acceptable anyway. What are you gonna have? The
you're
Hulk,
right.
the Hulk dressed in like you're gonna have Marvel Avengers style access microtransactions where they have the Hulk dressed in a pit pat and stuff.
Yeah,
That's what you're gonna have, and that's so dumb. I don't understand. I can't get behind it. I can't get behind it.
What's
I
wrong
refuse
with
to.
Hulk in a pimp suit?
He's not a pimp. He's a scientist.
We don't hold on. We don't know what Hulk does on his spare time. He could be pimping.
But he did wear a
rude.
suit before. There was, I forgot, it was in a comic. Like that's the thing. At least for go ahead.
It just wasn't purple.
No, I think it was black and white. But yeah, that's the thing with like the Marvel properties. It's like there's so many like cosmetic stuff that you could spend years releasing stuff and you wouldn't see an end to it because it constantly keeps going. And then in addition to the freaking decades of different variations of
the characters and everything.
characters and their suits and stuff like that. So I feel like on that front it's okay. Like I said, if it's just cosmetics, I feel like it'll be fine. But we don't know if they're gonna charge for power-ups or weapons or boosts or whatever, because that's what's gonna happen, or
Definitely.
we assume that's what's gonna happen. But
It's gonna happen.
we'll see. I mean, when the game launches, if it launches, because honestly, they made it seem like they were gonna put in the alpha, and then they'll base it off of that, because they didn't give a release date. They just said the alpha starts in May. They didn't even say like 2025 or anything like that. So I guess honestly, it's probably gonna come down to that. If people like it in the alpha, which I did sign up for, hopefully I get in. I feel like it could be, because a lot of people are excited about it because it's Marvel. People get excited for everything Marvel.
There you go.
But it's really just gonna come down to the microtransactions. Like realistically, the gameplay could be superb. It could be phenomenal. If the microtransactions are too crazy, then it's gonna fall off.
It's gonna fall off anyway. These type of shooters like Overwatch and stuff, they don't last very long. You can see that with between Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2, it just fell off significantly. They're going to either buff or nerf something, fix something, or change something. People aren't gonna like it. They're gonna fall off.
It does normally happen.
I don't have high hopes, obviously.
I'm
we can
cautious.
tell.
I'm not even. I don't want to say I'm optimistic. I'm just waiting to see what happens.
He's like, whatever.
Yeah, I'm literally like middle of the road here. Like
I will not play my feelings on this.
Seriously.
Yeah. All right. So we'll get to the next bit of news. Actually, some pretty big news. Gearbox is being sold. Take-Two is buying Gearbox from Embracer for $460 million. Now, they're not, I think what it is, they're not getting everything. They're getting some studios, some IPs, some stuff. That's why it's not bigger, $460 million. It seems like, it's not that big, but it's still pretty big. They're getting a lot of studios, a lot of IPs. Some things were confirmed, like Borderlands 4 has been confirmed to be in active development. And it's a huge deal when, because we all know Embracer bit more than they can chew and buying up a lot of different studios. So they were struggling, and I guess this is going to help them. Hopefully this helps them in a way so that way game developers themselves don't get fired from Embracer any more than they already have been with all these layoffs that's been happening across the industry. So that's my hope from it, that this sale will at least keep developers and these companies their jobs.
Yeah, I think the fact that they are selling instead of just closing them down is a good sign. And if they need to, that they can do it with other studios that are in demand, because I know like studios like Crystal Dynamics, I think what was it? Adios.
Idios, yeah.
Yeah, so like developers like that who are like struggling under Embracer, hopefully they can see that and basically do the same thing that they did with Gearbox. I actually called this. I remember when it first got announced that they were being sold. They didn't say to who. They just said that they were being sold. And I was like, it's got to be Take-Two because of Borderlands. Because people didn't know. They thought that Take-Two owned Gearbox initially, which they didn't. It was just they were publishing the Borderlands games. And that was it. So it makes sense to want to bring that studio in and basically just continue bringing Borderlands games because, I mean, they're very popular. I never got into them because I feel like I'm not into looter shooters. So, but it has its audience. They're even making a movie out of it. So I'm clearly it's popular. So yeah, we'll see what comes out of this if
because they get all the future games. The Gearbox's future pipeline will be for Take-Two. They're keeping obviously Take-Two will have control over Borderlands, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, Homeworld, Risk of Rain, Brothers in Arms, and the Duke Nukem franchise, and any future games in their pipeline. So it's a big buy. They get a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
big call right there.
And it makes sense too. It's one of those acquisition, or I guess sales. I was trying to think of the word. One of the sales that makes sense, like a lot of times you'll see acquisitions like one thing, I'll be honest, when PlayStation bought Bungie, like I was like, yo, this makes no sense, but whatever. So, but this one, it was just like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Well, hopefully, like you said, it leads to less layoffs and better games now that they're being able to be funded.
Definitely. Speaking of less layoffs, workers at Sega of America voted Tuesday to ratify their first collectively bargained contract within the U.S. arms of video game companies, granting new protections and raises about 150 full-time temporary employees. I don't get that. Full-time temporary employees.
Yeah, full-time temporary.
Huh? That's exactly what the article says.
I feel like that might be a typo.
Yeah.
Nah, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so this is great. It's a big union. They voted on it. It took like 6 months of negotiations, but this will lead to better conditions for developers. Also, lead to not having so many layoffs. And we see the industry trend where there's just layoffs upon layoffs. I got to talk about it a little bit in the quick save I did about Sony being in shambles because they just closed studios, laid off 900 people, and it was like just absolutely insane. So I'm glad to see that now developers are standing together and unionizing.
Yeah, this is nothing but good news. I feel like ever since like the massive layoffs that we saw last year and this year, like that should have been the sign for studios to unionize. Like this is what you need to do. Because your jobs are not secure as secure as you thought. Just because a publisher bought you or you're underneath like a good cushion, like that doesn't mean that your job is secure. Like you need to have that extra security, and unions can do that for you. And when Microsoft laid off, what was it, 1,900 employees, none of the unionized people got laid off, and that's what that is for. So
that's a big tell right there.
Exactly. So this is great, and I hope more unions come in the gaming industry.
Yeah. I mean, so this is being announced today, but earlier this year, Sega did lay off, I think it was like 61 employees. But with this contract, which is why it took so long, is that they were able to save 18 of those 61, and the rest got a very favorable severance packages. So this is all through just collective bargaining, just from the union. So I hope this is going to be a continued trend.
One can only hope.
Yeah, definitely. We need more of this. And speaking of trends going on, we have an interview from Phil Spencer himself. He came out and talking about the changes that are going on within the gaming industry and how the headline read how exclusives are being a risky business. And the full article, which I can link in the description and or even in the comments for everybody to read everything because it's a lengthy interview. We'll just sum it up here about how he believes the market has changed and it's costing too much money to make these big AAA exclusive games, and they're not seeing so much of a return on their investment. So they need to pivot so they can continue to make money and stay in business. And he goes on to say that I said that most of the concern of the industry is the lack of growth. And while we have an industry that is projected to be smaller next year in terms of players and dollars, he said you get a lot of publicity. Publicly traded companies that are in the industry that have to show their investors growth. Because why else does somebody own a share of someone's stock if it's not going to grow? He said that the side of the business that then gets scrutinized is the cost side. Because if you're not going to grow the revenue side, and the cost side becomes challenged. So he's trying to just show us that this is a business and things are changing. The industry is not really growing. He does go on to say that the industry will grow again, but right now they're not seeing that trend. Specifically with they did some polling with Gen Z and even Gen Alpha, how everybody's going to different lengths to play their games, including going mobile. Not everybody's buying their home consoles to plug into their TV and play games. And the market is changing. And he goes on to say that even though the market is changing, all the decisions, even if people don't like them, it's to better Xbox. It's to make Xbox stronger. He knows that there's a lot of toxic people out there who want to change the narrative, but he says we're going to make these decisions to make Xbox stronger.
And honestly, I feel like people are trying to vilify his words.
Yeah.
Because they just don't like the idea of Xbox games going to other platforms, which on the surface does seem like a bad thing. However, that's literally, he's basically saying the same thing that the new PlayStation CEO has been saying. There is no growth or little to no growth in the console market. And yes, there's sales, obviously, like people are still buying the consoles because they're new, but they're not seeing the growth. What that means is that the same people who have a PS4 are buying PS5s. Same people who have an Xbox One are buying Series X's and S's. So it's like there's no growth. It's the same people, the same market buying the same console over and over and over again. Like maybe like a decade ago or 2 decades ago, it was a different story. But now we're starting to see, like he said, that the Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they're moving on from the home console. For example, my kids, they play Roblox every day. Not on Xbox, not on PlayStation, on their tablet, on their tablets, on their iPads.
Yep.
So like that's where it is. Then that's initially why Xbox or Microsoft and now Sony are so heavy investing into the mobile market through xCloud, and now with ABK, with King, and Sony's gonna make more investments in there. They want that audience because that is where the market is growing to next. In addition to like PC and other stuff. But that's essentially where it's going. And a lot of people just don't want to see it. They don't want to admit that their console is essentially dying. Like the idea of a console is dying. I mean, granted, it's been such a long time, and we can't really see the future. And there's gonna be a PS6. There's gonna be another Xbox. Like that. It's not happening right now. It's gonna happen eventually, and they're preparing for it. now because they have to, because they actually, honestly, they've been preparing for this since like 2 generations ago. I remember the 360, during the 360 era, they were saying the next Xbox might be the last one. Just last gen, Sony was saying PS5 might be the last PS5. Like, you can look that up. Like, they were saying this. And it's because they see the future. They know eventually consoles are going to die because everything's going to be streaming and everything's going to be mobile. Everybody's going to want to play where they want to play. And honestly, I don't see why this is such a bad thing. Like, again, I said in the beginning, on the surface, it looks bad. Xbox games playing on PlayStation. That's crazy. No more exclusive. Like, okay, and I said it when we were talking about it before on group chat that Phil Spencer basically wants their gaming strategy, the Xbox brand, to be like a phone, where yes, it'll have dedicated hardware, but it won't be any different than the other console that's available. Like the next Xbox will do the same things as the PS6, and they'll all have the same games and they'll all play like the same way. But people will still choose because that's just how people are. It's that instinct, the us versus them mentality that will always be in human nature. Look at freaking Apple versus iPhone. There's people literally
Apple
they do
versus
this.
Android.
Oh yeah, I said Apple versus iPhone. Apple versus Android.
No, you're right. It's just the way people are built to design.
Exactly.
That's why sports is so popular. Whatever.
Sports, exactly. Like it's literally like they do the same thing, except one is green and one is white. So it's like, oh, and one has FaceTime, and it's literally like maybe one or two things. And even before they used to say iMessage, but iMessage is gonna be essentially not a factor anymore once iPhone adopts RCS later this year and is able to communicate properly with Android phones. So, like, at the end of the day, people just like what they like, and that's fine. You can like what you like, but just that doesn't mean everybody else has to suffer. Like, let's imagine an app. I mean, this used to happen, which is why it doesn't happen anymore, where there were certain apps that were exclusive to iPhone. And people got pissed off at that because it's just like, why would you make it? Literally, there's no difference between Android and iOS. Why would you make an app exclusive? It makes no sense. And even Instagram, when it first came out, that was exclusive to iPhone, and then eventually it came out to Android. And it's like the idea of an exclusive app that's a third party, like that makes no sense. Even Android apps or Google apps are available on iPhone. Apple apps are available on Android. So it's like that idea of exclusivity is silly, but it still exists in the console market, and that's why they're just like, okay, this is not getting us anywhere. It's not increasing revenue. It's not increasing player base or units. So I mean, it is increasing units, but not to the level where they can see profit from it. So that's why I think eventually PlayStation and Xbox are gonna be an app on your phone and your TV, like, and then what other devices you want. Like, it's gonna be an app eventually, maybe like 30 years from now, once the streaming is able to become less finicky. But yeah, so that's basically what he's saying, and I don't fault him for it because you got to be honest with it. You can't tiptoe around it. You can't sugarcoat it. You got to be honest, and that's one of it's like a double-edged sword for Xbox. They're honest, which shows that they have the transparency, but because they're honest, people don't like it. So it's like you want the truth or you don't want it. So it's like yeah. So I think this is the right move for them to make long term, and honestly, it might end up benefiting them long term anyway, because we didn't bring it up in the news, but the Xbox portable console or whatever that supposedly is going to be happening, that they've been hinting at. I think it was in this interview actually that Phil Spencer hinted the idea of opening the Xbox to other platforms like Steam or Epic Game Store. So it's like, imagine having Steam on an Xbox console, like in the future.
That'd be
Like
absolutely amazing.
That's a game changer, and that's essentially what like the future is. Everything in one box.
Yeah.
You can choose different boxes if you want, but it still has all the same shit. Like it's literally it's all about aesthetic. People
You're telling me
love
I can
aesthetic.
I can play Helldivers 2 on my Xbox? I'll be absolutely insane.
Yes,
I would
Oh, no.
absolutely love it.
Helldivers, God of War, Spider-Man, all those games, Ghost of Tsushima, all the games that are on PC. Imagine you could play on Xbox through Steam. Like that's the future we're looking at. It's gonna be, that's what's gonna happen. And
Yep.
whether people wanna admit it or not, it's not up to them because
It's
they'll
the-
and that's
the
the thing
future.
too. They'll piss and moan. They'll be like, "Oh, I don't like Xbox. I'm not gonna buy." Then they'll still buy the games. They'll still buy the PCs. They'll still buy the games on Steam and all this stuff. You're giving them money still. It does not matter if you buy an Xbox or not. They're telling you the Xbox is not making us money. We're making it because people still want them, but
We are
ultimately,
getting broke from them.
well, it's not even that they're getting broke. It's just they're not increasing sale or
Profits.
revenue.
No, they're not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
profits. So
Profits
it's like,
not going on because I understand.
yeah,
I mean,
they're
listen,
still
it-
making money. It's just not enough. So it's like they're expanding, and so is Sony. Sony is expanding the PC, and eventually they will also do the same thing and expand to other platforms, like the Switch or Xbox or whatever. They're doing the same things just at a different pace. This literally what Sony's doing now is what Xbox was doing in 2017. So
Yep.
it's only a matter of time. So Phil Spencer, and for all the flack that Microsoft gets, they have the data. They are literally a data company.
Yeah.
They would know of all people where we're going. So I would put a little bit of faith in them. They haven't been around for 50 plus years because they didn't know where the industry was going at any given time. They literally, that's their jobs to know this stuff. So
Hey,
I would
yeah.
put my faith in them instead of Joe Schmo on Twitter.
Honestly,
I'll be bringing
Phil
up Joe
Spencer
Small. I love his
has
work.
really turned around Xbox from when he started heading it. You know, if it wasn't for him, Xbox probably would have been dead, especially after the fiasco with the 360 and the red rings and then the launch of Xbox
Oh.
One. I think without Phil Spencer, we wouldn't have what we have today. And I think they need to trust in his vision for the future. He's not going to just give up and let Xbox die. They didn't invest nearly $80 billion for it to just go away. You know, he said it's going to be here. They're still making consoles because we have rumors of a white digital Series X. And even like you mentioned, the potential for a handheld Xbox. They're still here. They're still going to make games. They're going to make consoles. The market is just changing. It's not about sales and dollars amounts anymore. You know, that's the old way of thinking. We're moved on.
Yeah, it's all about revenue. And these shareholders only care about, they don't care about how many units Xbox sold. They don't care about how many units PlayStation sold. It's all about revenue. How much money are they getting? And that's why like prices are going up for the games, for the consoles. That's why they're going up. It's not because they want to sell, or they're not. If they really wanted to sell more, they would lower prices.
Absolutely.
That's basically what. That's every electronic. When you want to sell more units, you lower the prices. That's not what they care about anymore. They care about revenue. So they're increasing prices to get more revenue. That's it.
We'll move on because do you want to get into the gold rush is over?
Yeah, I guess we could just jump into that. Yeah.
All right, I'll you have it because I want you to speak on this.
All right. So basically, I mean, I don't have the article in front of me because my phone's about to die. And I don't feel like looking on my PC. But the gist of it is that there was two developers from I forget what their name. You know what? Let me just look it up. Let me just look it up. Let me stop being lazy. I sent it to you in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. All right, so yeah, Slay the Spire devs and Darkest Dungeon devs have said that basically the Game Pass and Epic Game Store deals have basically dried up. And what this means is that they're not handing out those deals as frequently as they used to, because in the past, when Game Pass was growing, they basically were handing out deals to developers like candy because they needed content. They needed to fill their service with so much content so that way they gave subscribers value. And that was always a good thing I always saw.
Yeah.
And for a while it worked. But the thing is now is that with like, I mean, Phil Spencer said it, with the industry in basically a low period right now, the revenue it needs to increase and their spending needs to decrease. But it also means that they need to be more smart about what deals they give out, especially now that they don't need them anymore, because they have an entire
ABK.
they have an entire backlog of Activision and Blizzard games to slowly drip feed into the service and give players the same content, well, not the same content, but content, so that way they can feel fulfilled. And it's not content that will leave the service eventually. It's content that will stay on the service. Diablo 4 just released on Game Pass. That is staying on there. It's not 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. It's for the life of the game or the service.
Yeah.
So now that they have that, they can be more selective. Because, I mean, one of the jokes is that
natural.
One of the jokes is that people say, "Oh, it's Game Pass fodder," because they had a lot of indie games on there that were like little like $5 games that you could buy on the App Store that were just ported to the console. Like I see that, and I mean, granted, I would never play those games, but giving that as an option for those who would like to try those games, it was always good. But now they don't have to do that anymore. They don't have to rely on third party so much to the point where that like it was only third parties that they were coming to the service. In addition to all the new games that are coming out, like Indiana Jones, like Hellblade 2, like Avowed, like all these games that they already announced, like those are coming too, and now they have a steady flow of new games that are coming in addition to the backlog, and they're good. They can focus on a select few third-party games, potentially bigger, because they can spend more money on one game instead of on multiple games. And that's basically it. It makes sense. It's not that they're gonna de-emphasize Game Pass is not a priority anymore. Game Pass is the priority. Game Pass is Xbox. Like let's make that clear. That's what their business model is now. So that's gonna be the focus. That's why all these games are releasing directly day one into Game Pass. They wouldn't do that if Game Pass they were slowing it down. And freaking Call of Duty is gonna come in Game Pass. Like that's
all the Call of Duties,
all the Call of Duties, and including the new one. So like that Game Pass is the focus. So just because that certain indie developers aren't going to be able to get good deals anymore, doesn't mean that Game Pass is going to be de-emphasized, as certain people want to say. It just means that they're changing it up, and they're going to be focusing on their own shit now instead of other people's shit.
I mean, like I said, that's natural. You know, they can throw a little bit more money at like the show or the big games that come from third parties. Yeah. Because they're not, funneling all this money into the smaller devs. And that kind of sucks. But also Xbox has a developing group for indie games. It's ID at Xbox.
Yeah.
So there are different ways to go about, being on Xbox for better. So this is just, for me, it's a non-starter for me. This is just two developers complain that they can't make a crappy game and get big money off of Xbox anymore.
I don't think it was just being a crappy game.
I know. I'm just being salty.
They were just like basically using the Game Pass deal to fund their games, and it's like that's great, but they're not doing that no more. Like you shouldn't expect any growing service to continue to do that stuff, because that's throwing money away. I mean, not away, but throwing money constantly at indie games and stuff like that, basically funding them, that's not how the business grows. That's not how the service grows.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll still see games. We'll still see third parties. We'll still see indie games come in the service. It's just not going to be as frequent as it used to be.
Yeah. And I guess we can talk about the last bit of thing really quickly would be how the PS5 Pro enthusiasm is just non-existent amongst video game developers. So PS5 is celebrating its 4th year now that it's been out.
It's heading into the 4th year, yeah.
It's heading into the 4th year, yeah. And although in the beginning the stock was an issue, now not so much. It's readily available everywhere. That's for both consoles from Microsoft and Sony. PS5 Pro rumored to be coming out. Developers supposedly making games for them, and they're just not understanding why it's needed, because it's not much of a difference, if any difference, than the PS5. So it's just like, why? Why are we doing this? You know?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You could.
So, like, when the first, like, rumors started popping up and they were saying, like, oh, it's going to be 45 times faster, it's going to have a better GPU and this and that, like, yeah, that's all fine on paper and stuff like that, but these console games are focused on the CPU. Like, they're CPU heavy. That's always been the case for every console, always CPU heavy.
Okay.
The fact that has the same CPU, the PS5 Pro is supposedly going to have the same CPU as the PS5, just slightly overclocked so that way it can run a little bit hotter and slightly faster. It basically means that these games are not really going to see the performance boost that people are expecting. And it's surprising because we literally saw this with the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro, because they also saw very little increase in performance. Some games did, but most games didn't. Yeah. So it's the fact that it's going to happen all over again, and we're not going to see those same performance. And that's the one thing too. Like, people, granted, it's a meme that the PS4 or the PS5 Pro, like, I'm getting that so I could run GTA 6 at 60 frames per second. It's not going to run at 60 frames per second for two reasons. One, because it can't, because it's going to be running on the same CPU. It will not be able to run at 60 frames per second. Also, because Take-Two will not do that. They will not give you a free upgrade. They will make you buy the base version and then a year later sell you the upgrade, like they have before, literally every single time.
And I'll buy it.
And you will buy it because you are part of the problem. But that's what they've done every single time. They sold GTA 3 times. GTA 5. They sold it 3 times. They sold it on PS3 and Xbox 360. They sold it on Xbox One and PS4. And then they sold it again on PS5 and Xbox Series X. They didn't give those away for free. They were sold to you again, and people bought it, and on PC. So it's like, you really think they're gonna give away a PS5 Pro version for free? No, they're gonna make you buy the base game, and then a year later they'll have a PS5 Pro version.
If I hope enough, maybe. You want the PC version?
I mean, people are gonna have FOMO with GTA. Like, it's one of those, like, zeitgeist moments. Everybody's gonna be playing it.
Yep.
Everybody.
And that's honestly, people talk about, like, GTA being the moment where people actually upgrade, because there's people still playing on PS4 and Xbox One. No shame to them, but
I'm not saying, is there a problem here?
No, I mean, I'm saying this. No, but that's what I'm saying.
He was offended.
There's no reason to upgrade. And I've always said this. Like, honestly, I own the PS5 and Series X. Realistically, if I didn't care, like, if I was a casual gamer, I wouldn't feel the need to upgrade. I would tell someone, if they were looking to do it, just don't do it. You don't need to. Unless you care about, like, the glitz and glamour and stuff like that. But even then, I would tell you, invest in a PC if that's what you ultimately care about. But I do it because I'm an enthusiast. I like
being
my
triggered
game.
right now. I'm being triggered.
He's just
but I'm saying,
targeting
like,
us.
I
This-
own everyone.
well, that's
We
your
done
problem.
nothing. We done nothing to him, and he's just insults left and right. Like, I don't understand.
Facts. What is
What
wrong
I'm
with
not
this guy
insulting
today?
you. I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm telling
Like,
you, there's nothing wrong with it. I
He just comes
understand.
back. He comes back violent for no reason.
I'm saying I understand. These games can still run on last gen tech, so it makes sense. Why would you upgrade if my games can still play? So
Rise and Ronin.
well, that's a whole
I'm sorry.
different. That's a whole
sorry.
different
Yeah.
conversation. But anyway, I feel like GTA will be that moment where a lot of people be like, you know what, I probably should get a PS5 or Xbox Series X because I need to play it. Like, it's just one of those games.
I mean, if they don't have
Hold
it,
on.
they're just gonna
Absolutely.
spend like 20 minutes loading. Because GTA 5's loading times was absolutely
Sir.
ridiculous.
I bought PlayStation 4 when I learned that Kingdom Hearts 3 was coming out on it. Don't play me.
You see? Look, Kingdom Hearts 4 is gonna be PS5 Pro exclusive. Look at that. Then
Don't
you'll
give
upgrade.
And you goddamn right. That shit will come on the PlayStation 6. I'm like, well, it looks like you all have to go into storage because I
There you
only need
go.
space for one.
But yeah, so yeah, the PS5 Pro, it's not a pointless device. I just feel like people are hyping it up for it to be not really that much of an upgrade.
For us, you also gotta remember these are still kids. So like we were
Yeah.
children. When we
Yeah.
also every time a new console came out, we were all like, "Mom, can I
True.
really buy this one?"
It makes for an easy Christmas gift.
Absolutely.
So
Like let's
I
not
mean-
act like we weren't kids with like PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo systems. I got the first 4 Nintendo systems. I don't want to hear nothing. And I know you got every Xbox most likely growing up, Drip.
I did.
You got
I mean, we have all these consoles. You know, and these games are coming out. They're all the same.
Until
GTA
we
was
get-
what, 11 years old?
Absolutely. Until we
You
get
know?
a computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, GTA is 11 years old.
Don't you know
And-
consoles are just gateway drugs to computers anyway.
They are.
Pretty much.
This game in particular is 11 years old. When talking about GTA 5, the people who played it, who were kids, are now grown-ups. Now the
Goddamn.
kids who see it, GTA 6, they want to play it. So the game's gonna sell massively. It's gonna have a spike in console sales for sure. You know, this is one of those games that just it's gonna happen. You can't do nothing about it. You know.
That's crazy just to think about. When GTA 5 came out, I didn't have kids.
Holy
And now I got 2. That's crazy.
Why
I
is Jonathan laughing so hard? Yo, that's hilarious. It's true though, you know. I think my son was just born that same year.
Oh,
He's
God.
11
wow.
now. You know, he's
my
11
God.
now. It's been absolutely insane to think that there's
That
gonna
was-
be a new generation of gamers plus the old generation of fans who've loved the
No.
series forever.
No, can we,
Um,
wait, let's go back because I wasn't, by the time GTA 5 came out, I wasn't even 20 yet.
What? I'm too old.
he
man.
still had to ask his mom to buy it.
I was 18, I was like 18 to 19.
Oh my god, I am old. All right, that's it. For loading up. Have a good night.
Great.
No, that's definitely it for the news, though, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Um,
chest.
All right. You know what? Since we've been away, I do want to pose a question because I actually been thinking about this. I saw it on Twitter, and so all right, I'll go one by one. If one of you guys were given essentially a blank check to make your dream game, what would that be? Like, it could be any IP, it could be any genre. What would your dream game be? Start with Brother Zay.
Oh my god, I'm so on the spot right now. My dream game.
Yeah. I mean, you could use, like, it doesn't have to be an original game. It can be,
Yeah.
like, Kingdom Hearts 6. I don't know.
No. I guess what I really want is I want Red Dead 3.
Red Dead 3.
I want Red
With
Dead
you.
Redemption 3. I want it so bad. That game, Red Dead Redemption 2, was a masterpiece. I know people didn't give it a shot. It's sort of I love it. I love everything about it. The graphics, the attention to detail. The guys over at Rockstar, obviously they're wizards over there, and I just want a sequel. You know, I want more. And if they have a blank check with the people over at Rockstar making a Red Dead 3, that's it.
Yeah. I mean, see, that's the thing with like Red Dead or Rockstar, because it's like, how long does it really take to make a game? Like, I get games are they're technical, they're hard. I'm not saying they're easy.
Yeah.
But it's been like so freaking long, and I don't know how long it's gonna be until we get a Red Dead 3. If we get a Red Dead 3, I feel like we will, but
I doubt it. If I had that hypothetical blank check, it will definitely make it happen.
it will make it happen, and probably sooner.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll
5
get it,
years.
we'll
Let's
get it.
go.
Slept 5 years.
Instead of 13.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh man.
At least
Yeah.
it cuts it in half.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be 65. Red Dead's coming out.
Finally.
Dad, Red Dead Redemption 3. I've waited.
I've waited
so long.
It's been 20 years.
You got
Alright.
Red Dead Redemption 3 before you got GTA 6.
Right?
Oh, no.
That's crazy.
All right, brother Tay, what would your game be?
I thought of 2. And one, I know I made a joke about it on here before, but goddamn, it needs to happen. We all know that Mario is in every sports. I need Mario as an American football game, just as the stupid
Yeah,
Mario.
you did mention that before.
I knew it. As soon as you said Mario with sports, I knew it.
It has to be. I've been
Mario
dreaming about it
football.
since I was like, you understand? I've dreamed about this since I was like 10. I've always wanted it.
You know
And
what's
then, like,
funny? I used to dream about Mario baseball, and then they eventually made it. So
That was the problem. They made like Mario baseball, basketball, and soccer, and I was like,
They
okay,
even made
that's
tennis.
3.
tennis,
They
yeah.
made tennis and golf. I was like, all right, I've seen 5. There's one more, and then they looked. I'm like, yes, but they got to make it eventually.
You know what it
never
is?
came.
You know what it is because it's hard to sell that outside of the U.S.
Absolutely, I know it.
That
It's
is
the
the only
worst.
reason why. Because
never
every other
came out.
game every other sport that has Mario in it is
It's very
has
popular
something-
worldwide.
exactly.
I know. Trust me, as someone who's the only reason I know there's a American Football League in Japan is because there's an anime called iShow 21 that had live action football players explaining the sport to people. And I was like, this is so weird.
That is weird. Oh, what would the other game be though?
I guess the other one, basically because I think this might be like the perfect mix of like role player and comedy. I think I would want another like South Park Stick of Truth game,
Oh yeah.
but I think I would want
Aren't
like
they making a new one?
They are,
Of
but
which
I
game?
don't like a
South
South
Park.
Park game.
Well, yeah, they have the Snow Day that's coming out.
Yeah, but that's
But-
not the RPG. He wants like another RPG.
Oh,
I was
you
gonna
want
say,
like
like-
another one?
I was gonna say like make it from that, but have the workers of like Square Enix and Final Fantasy like make their graphics and stuff and
Oh,
help
okay.
them out with the storyline. Because the comedy, South Park's got it. Their storylines are all over the place and funny.
Yeah.
But like to have the creative minds of like Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts people there, because their storylines are all over the fucking place too.
Yeah.
That game would not end for like 3 years.
they'll split it up into 3 games.
It'll be Final Fantasy 7 again.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
like,
you
just
know
when
what? I actually was close to getting the Stick of Truth because I'm not really a South Park fan, but I like the idea of it. Like I was
Wait,
watching.
you've never played that game?
No, I almost
Jesus.
got it though.
Dude, this is so
Specifically-
good.
Because I
it
think
is a
the
great
first
game.
one, was made by Obsidian, right?
I don't know who it was made by.
No, Stick of Truth was the first one.
Yeah, Stick of Truth. It was made by Obsidian, I think.
It might have been. I don't remember.
I'm about to
I
look
just-
this up.
I'm about to look it up too. Yeah,
'Cause I
it's made
like-
by Obsidian Entertainment.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to get into it because I like Obsidian
It was
RPGs.
published by Ubisoft.
I know it's
So-
published by Ubisoft. I know that.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I almost got into it, but I was like, I'm not really a South Park fan, so I feel like I'm missing out on a big portion of why people would like this game. So I
No.
decided against it.
Honestly,
You- Go ahead,
they were
Teddy.
like they did like little references to the show, but not a lot of them. Like the
Yeah.
game with its own little universe. I think
Yeah,
that was.
eh.
I think that's what makes South Park so. That's what makes the game so good. Like they have references like Man Bear Pig, like that's from the show, but like that's like one of a few things. Everything else is like, all right, you learned about this because of the game,
Okay.
and it's just
Yeah.
random things.
Yeah, no, the game. I'm not a huge South Park fan. Like I like it, but I don't like role playing like those type of games. But I've played
Turn-based.
both of them. Yeah, I don't like those type of games. But I played both of them and absolutely loved it. The Stick of Truth was so funny and so original. The jokes are absolutely insane because most of it is pop cultural reference stuff anyway.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you'll get it, and it's absolutely insane and funny.
I'll tell you, the first thing when you're setting up your character, the first punchline joke when you're setting up what skin your character is going to be for difficult. And it was like,
I
this
know
doesn't-
that. Yeah.
It was like this doesn't decide how hard the game is. It just decides how to react with you. I was like, all right, goddamn.
Yeah. The Stick. I'm surprised you haven't played it though. Stick of Truth and The Fractured Behold, really great games.
Yeah.
I'm so angry.
No, they
with
were
that one. It
on
was-
sale. I think like
So
a year or
dumb.
two ago, and
They
I
always
almost
go
bought
on
it.
sale. No, they always go on sale. Just wait for the spring sale when it happens. Guaranteed to be like in a pack for like $17.99 for both games.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, I'll keep an eye open then.
Yep.
So my dream game would, I posted it on my Twitter. So as you know, I'm a very big Metal Gear Solid fan. I am also a very big Splinter Cell fan,
Oh god.
but
no.
they haven't made a freaking Splinter Cell game in God knows how long, and who knows if we'll get another one. So my dream game would essentially be a crossover between Metal Gear Solid and Splinter Cell. Like
Okay.
literally have Solid Snake and Sam Fisher. I would make it have them against each other, like maybe to start, and have like two separate storylines where you play as one and then you play the other in the next one. And then you can choose which one you want to play as first, obviously. And then if you beat both, you'll unlock like a third storyline, and then it'll be them teaming up and fighting, I guess, like a bigger enemy or something like that. That's like a rough cut on how I want it to be, but basically I want it to be like the same gameplay as Metal Gear Solid 5, because to this day I maintain, while it's not my favorite Metal Gear Solid, it was the most fun to play because it felt so smooth and fluid, and it was just butter. And I'm to this day pissed at Konami for not licensing out that Fox engine, because I feel like that was one of the best engines out there. Maybe it was just harder to develop for, which is why they decided not to do it. But it felt so good to play. Like story wise, it kind of sucked, but from a gameplay perspective, it was amazing. So if it had like that type of gameplay, and then the stealth mechanics from Splinter Cell, where you like you could shoot out light bulbs and then it will get pitch black, and you can take out enemies that way, like that type of stuff. Like I love stealth games. Like I literally, like if an RPG they give me a stealth option, I'm going for it. Like Cyberpunk or whatever the case may be, I am stealth first. So that would be my dream game, like a crossover between them where they're facing off and then they team up. So
That sounds dope.
yeah, and I'm getting my hopes up because it's not gonna happen. There's no way that this happens.
No,
But
I know you want it to happen. And we're
I
here.
do.
we're here for your hope.
Eventually, we'll get a Splinter Cell game, and then I'll be happy. Hopefully, Ubisoft, please do me a favor. But yeah. So yeah, that'll do it for us this week. So happy to be back. I feel like I said it before we started. Like, I had so much to say, and it's like clearly you can tell because I've been talking my freaking mouth off this whole episode. But yeah. So before we go, just remember our partners and our sponsorship with why did I blank out for a second?
Our partners with Dubby Energy
Dubby.
Drink.
Yeah. I was gonna say Gubby.
At least you didn't say what I was
Gubby.
thinking.
No, it's Dubby and NordVPN, and we thank them for giving us the opportunity to start this partnership. And again, our affiliate links will be in the description below, where you can save. It's 10%, right?
On W, it's 10%, and NordVPN, it's 69% on 2 years for NordVPN.
Look at that!
Damn.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane deal. So if
Can't
you're looking,
beat that.
if you're looking to get into VPN, definitely hit up our links. You'll see the deal for 2 years. Absolutely amazing.
I might have to do that myself. God damn, I didn't know what this was.
Look into it.
That's why I look at this web and I don't pay attention to work.
All right, so we'll see you guys next week.
Peace. Bye-bye.